I'm Stoukas coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario on December 1st, 2025. Just going by so quick this year. The year, the whole year went by quick. No aliens yet, though. I thought the aliens would be here for 25. So, today's Monday. Nothing much, just the same stuff going on. Ukraine, we're wasting billions, still wasting billions on Ukraine, as they try to, as Trump supposedly tries to get a peace deal going with him, Ukraine and Russia, and just the basic horrible news out of Canada today. We'll go through the rundown. Things are heating up, though. Things are heating up. There's more and more groups on the street, it seems, causing a stir, hate crime stir, they say. But they're very selective on their hate crime accusations. It's interesting how selective the government will be soon, and the media on who's the hater and who isn't. All right, let's just get to it. So, I see this here in parking lots all the time. So yeah, I see this too. Like, I don't even know what it means. I see a machine gun and the CN Tower. I don't know. So that's not a hate crime, I guess. But I was looking at this. I don't know. This is in Hamilton. I don't know who this group is. It says Nationalist 13. And they were in Hamilton downtown. They were basically saying stuff like, I don't know, white. I can't remember what they were saying. I have the other one. But in Hamilton, I like how they describe it. Hate crime reports in Hamilton climbing sharply in recent years. A new incident downtown is causing fear among residents. Okay, so I don't know these guys. I have no idea who these guys are. But basically, they were saying we're defending white people and on all this, like, and people might find that distasteful, but I wouldn't, call it a hate crime. They're calling it a hate crime just because of that. And they screwed up this country bad for immigration when stuff like this is happening. Like, it's happening because of the government's, horrible mismanagement of the country, like total mismanagement of the country. But instead of like saying, look, we should fix the systemic problems in Canada, no, let's just call everybody who complains hate crime or whatever, hate crime doers. I don't know what to call them. And they're saying like, this downtown. Let's just read what they say here. I just think it's very selective because you have these Calistani guys threatening to kill Indian officials, bombing, like all sorts of threats and violence. You got the Palestinian guys walking around with masks and, pushing the boundaries on their protests with the cops. And you got churches burning down from arson, but the only time they mention hate crime is when a few white guys show up and say we want only white people around it. It's very selective on the hate crime stuff. They need to chill out. But these guys are interesting in Hamilton. I guess this Hamilton's been happening more. Whatever. Like, I think, like I said, people are, very upset about the immigration situation. So, with hate crime reports in Hamilton climbing sharply in recent years, a new incident downtown is causing fear among residents. Really? I mean, they didn't beat anybody up. They didn't break any windows. They didn't, like I've seen at other protests. They didn't threaten to kill anybody. As far as I can tell, a white supremacist group appeared in Gore Park Saturday night, displaying a hateful message, prompting a strong response today from anti-racism advocates. Masked, organized, and holding a large banner pushing a message of hate and racism. Since groups like this are looking to use the media to spread their message of hate, CHCH has chosen to blur their words. Oh, thank you. The incident stoked fear in our community, said Lyndon George, executive. I think the rapes and the murders were probably stoking more fear. And the sexual assaults and the home invasions. I think those are stoking more fear in the community. This particular group we're well aware of, and we're not here to give them more attention, yet we're here to be able to call them out and say that that's not acceptable in our community, and to ensure that community members who are impacted by this level of hate know they are not alone. So yeah, you see they're setting it up. Basically anybody. This is who's going to complain about immigration is going to be smeared as a hate monger, especially with the coming legislation. Last night's rally was not the first demonstration of hate in Hamilton. Within the last year, a similar group of masked individuals appeared at Jackson Square on November 9th, 2020, so about a year ago, holding an anti-immigration sign. Oh my gosh. Call the Marines. Events like this have a huge impact on our community because we start to feel like it's okay to spout that kind of racist white nationalist or white supremacist view in public. And it makes people afraid and not part of Hamilton, said Amber Dean, a member of whatever the hell, HR, some anti-hate group. So, recent Hamilton police statistics show hate crimes have risen 173% in the last 5 years. Doesn't really get into specifics. I'm sure they're just going to assume it's all white supremacists doing the hate crime. So you see where that's how they're branding the story. You know, basically anybody who's complaining about immigrants or being overwhelmed by mass migration, they're going to put you in the same category. And, I'm not, like I said, I don't know these guys, I'm not defending it, but what I'm saying is, what'd they do? They had a protest against immigration. They didn't hurt anybody. They didn't threaten anybody. And unlike the Calistanis, who aren't even Canadian, really. So, they need to chill out. All right. We got other news here. I just thought that was an interesting gathering. Here's another video of it. They made a video too. So they're pretty well white supremacist, I could say. Here's a teaser clip of our white man fight back demonstration in Hamilton last night using footage taken by neutrals and anti-whites. Hail white Canada. Hail victory. Okay. White man fight back demonstration. Let's see what this video is. Okay,
Did you
that's
notice how
it.
this mother?
I thought that was interesting. But you know, Canada's things are heating up when this stuff's. You see this stuff going on in the streets. And I blame the government. We'll see where this is going. Alright. Alright. What's next here? So that's Hamilton. Meanwhile, we got. Oh, shoot. Let's just go down the list here. Food, next one is. It's all related anyway. Food banks are breaking under the weight of rising poverty in Ontario. New report says. Yeah. I wonder why. It's probably because of all the millions of immigrants they keep letting into the country. People relying on food banks to survive have reached unprecedented numbers in Ontario as residents sink further into poverty even while working, a new report states. All right. Need is outpacing the resources available. We've reached an all-time record high with more than 1 million people needing to turn to food banks in the province. That's a lot. It's really showing us that as the affordability crisis is growing, it's pushing more families from just getting by to barely holding on. Okay. So, 1 million people in Ontario are using food banks, so I hope Doug Ford's proud of that. He's been premier for the last 8 years, so that's probably on him a bit. So, he was bragging about how many people he's letting into Ontario, and now look at us, we're all lining up at the food banks. And the people that aren't at the food banks, there's a lot that are not are hurting when they go to the grocery store. So, but most of the comments here are like food banks breaking under the weight of rising poverty and immigration in Ontario, new report says. So, they didn't mention immigration, of course. In fact, they reportedly don't have enough food left over to feed Canadian citizens. Oh, under the weight of foreigners abusing Canadian kindness, food banks are breaking across Canada. You dipshits. Inflation, low dollar, carbon tax, along with dog shit coming to Canada who know how to milk and abuse systems. So basically, people are saying it's because of immigration that's spiking the use of food banks, abusing the food banks just for free food. And it's hurting the food banks because I know a lot of people, when they hear that, when they see videos of Indians bragging about using food banks, they basically don't want to donate to food banks then, because they're going to say, why should I donate to the food banks? So it's really hurting, I think, the food banks' ability to get donations. So, of course, another thing ruined in Canada, another Canadian cultural kind of item ruined by immigration, because the food banks in Canada were always for the most vulnerable. And people we raised, they had the food bank drives every year. And now they're ruining that because people don't think it's like going to people who deserve it. So that's unfortunate. I'm sure we'll see more food bank stories in the future, in the near future. Here's new news tonight. This is horrible. Look at this guy. Ugh. That's Trudeau's buddy, Mark Miller. He used to be immigration minister, destroyed immigration. Now he's the culture minister after Stephen Guilbeault quit over the pipeline memorandum. So he's going to implement what it defines to be a Canadian. Also, he's going to probably have a lot of say on the implementation of like censorship laws and hate laws online in Canada. Look at this guy. He's a Total globalist commie. So Mark Carney names Trudeau's former immigration minister Mark Miller as the new heritage minister, making him responsible for implementing Carney's internet censorship laws. Yeah. That should be interesting. He screws up everything he touches, so. Alright, here's me in Sarnia today. And I don't know, the chemtrails thing, I noticed in Sarnia, they're spraying us like cockroaches. It's like, I know they say it's just the vapor or whatever, but look at this. So you got two big chemtrails there. And then you got the third plane putting fresh thing in between the two chemtrails. I was like, wow, what's going on here? So that was from my backyard today. But I've seen lots of these lately. We're talking too much. They don't want us talking so much. Next. This is another thing that hit today. Algoma Steel issues 1,000 layoff notices. Right before Christmas. Merry Christmas. Why did they do this? Okay. Well, obviously, reeling from high tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump, Algoma Steel confirmed Monday it has issued layoffs to about 1,000 workers. A company based in Sault Ste. Marie employs about 2,700 workers. With its major buyers in the United States, the company was hit hard by the 50% tariffs imposed last summer by Trump. Okay. So, the tariffs screwed them, they're saying. Tariffs have fundamentally altered the competitive landscape and sharply limited our ability to access the U.S. market. As a result of these pressures, Algoma has been forced to conclude its long history as an integrated steel manufacturer and close its blast furnace and coke-making operations in early 26. Wow, okay. Okay, so that sucks for the 1,000 workers. Alright. I'm sure there'll be more of those coming. With the auto sector too. Speaking of this, next, this is Ukraine. How much taxpayer money has been stolen in Ukraine? That's the topic, hot topic this week. So Zelensky's right-hand man was nabbed for all sorts of corruption, stealing all sorts of money. So the speculation is just a matter of time before they go after the Zelensky too. Hope we'll see. But meanwhile, they're still doing this peace negotiations or trying to do this some kind of peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. But even after all this corruption been exposed and, you know, trying to get a peace deal, some diplomacy going instead of keep going on the war, Canada, our foreign policy, this is what they said at Wednesday's NATO foreign ministers meeting, we'll focus on supporting Ukraine. Canada and our allies are providing the support Ukraine needs to defend its sovereignty. When Ukraine is stronger, we are all safer. But yeah, no mention about all the corruption and millions and billions of dollars stolen. Horrible. They just want to keep throwing money at this thing. Regardless, you know. It's horrible. Hopefully that ends. But you got Chrystia Freeland over there doing who knows what. Over almost 25 billion, I think Canada's got spunded out of. Next. These guys, they're still protesting. These guys are the workers that came here on some kind of skilled program. What's OINP again? OINP protesters. Here, let's see what this box says. INP. Anyway. Okay. Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. So basically, they were here on some program, because like I said, there's a million programs for the people to get into Canada. So many different visa programs. So this was one of them, a provincial kind of program, and it was so much fraud and abuse, the federal government decided to pull the plug on it. So all these guys are, I guess, facing getting kicked out now. And they're at Queen's Park every day. Look at them. And I remember Doug Ford was saying, we need these workers, they should stay. He said that in the legislature. And this is them. Yeah, they really.
What do you think is like a bigger issue for society? Feminism?
They really don't want to go back. But yeah, I'm sure they'll get. We'll see if they. I'm pretty sure the way our government works, they'll be allowed to stay. But look at them. And there's so many other programs that they get in. Like, you know, when they said they were going to cut down the student visas, they'll find another way in. They cut this one, they'll find a different way in. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on them. See if they do get deported. They don't look like they want to go, though. Okay. Next, there's Zelensky in Paris, talking with the Europeans how they can keep this war going against Russia. The Europeans want to go full war against Russia. Or rather, they want the U.S. to go full war against Russia. It's so horrible. But Zelensky's looking a little rough there. Okay, next, remigration now. That's Dominion Society. They've been saying that, but now it's actually starting to. I see it everywhere now in the States. The president, the State Department. It's hilarious. It's really catching on. Whether it gets implemented, that's another story. And here's again, this Nationalist 13 group from Hamilton. Things in global economy Canada are heating up. Here's a teaser of white man fight back demonstration in Hamilton last night using footage. Okay, we already saw this. Never heard of these guys. All right. Speaking of, I'm more worried about these guys, to be quite honest. These guys, these Calistani guys, I don't even know how they got into Canada. Why do we let these guys into Canada? We gotta ban this immigration from India. Like, it's a national security problem now, because like we're literally letting in terrorists. They're arming up. They got guns. You always, you see videos of them shooting guns all the time. They threaten to kill people all the time. Here they're gathered outside a Hindu temple in Surrey, BC, because they hate Hindus, I guess. Who knows? Claiming they are confronting Indian consulate employees. That makes no sense. So basically, they're confronting people outside a Sikh or a Hindu temple. But the guys, the white dudes in the corner on Hamilton, just holding a protest, are the ones that are the hate mongers. That's what I mean by the selective hate accusations. Like, these guys are more of a menace to Canada than those dudes, the whatever Nationalist 13 sitting on the corner in Hamilton. These guys are actual terrorists, and they're not even Canadian. Those guys are Canadian, and they're not. Whatever you think of their methods, they're not threatening people at Hindu temples. These guys are. They're everywhere, these guys. These guys are more of a menace than the white dudes in Hamilton, as far as I'm concerned. Sorry. These guys are way more threatening. They're way more of a threat to Canada. Okay, here's more of them. That's another angle. Pro-Khalistan Sikhs protesting outside the Hindu temple to confront Indian consular employees who are using these camps to coordinate assassination plots against Canadian Sikhs. So basically they're saying the Indian government's trying to kill them. So, which is probably true, but all this is happening in Canada. Like, why is it happening in Canada? What does it have to do with Canada? Like I said, between the Indian government and their hit squads and the Khalistan terrorists, they're doing way more harm to Canada than these dudes sitting in the corner on a Hamilton street. But yet everybody's clutching their pearls over these Hamilton guys. I'd rather clutch pearls over these dudes. Deport these dudes. Next. Here's more Ukraine BS. Anita Anand, our foreign minister, can't stand her. She should have retired when she was planning on it. Canada continues to welcome the process towards a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. We will keep contributing to Ukraine's longevity in tangible ways, including providing multifaceted forms of military and economic assistance. Yes. Imposing sanctions against Russian individuals and organizations, which we've been doing for 4 years. Working for the return of wrongly abducted Ukrainian children. Yeah. Maybe you should worry about Canadian children who are can't get the services they need here. But and this, the Ukrainian children, whatever. I don't know about that. But anyway, they want to just keep sending money to Ukraine. Let's do that. Our traitor government. I don't like that. So we already sent them $25 billion. They're stealing like crazy, and we're going to keep sending them more money and keep trying to get into a big war with Russia. That's the Canadian policy. Pierre is the same way. Pierre feels the same, unless he says something otherwise. He hasn't said anything, so I'm pretty sure he's pro-Ukraine war. There's these Khalistani again. Khalistani. Anyway. This is just one thing in Surrey that happened with the Khalistani guy. They do this all the time, everywhere. Oh, this is in Vancouver. This is in Vancouver. So the other one was in Surrey. Okay. And now they're fighting with Pakistan. Khalistan's... they're... Okay. In Vancouver, pro-Khalistani extremists were seen raising both Khalistan and Pakistan flags, making their alignment clear. Khalistan advocate, has repeatedly expressed support for Pakistan on various issues, reinforcing perception that the Khalistan movement is backed by Pakistan, of course. So they're bringing all that stuff into Canada. Now we've got Pakistan in the mix. And so these guys are the big threat, right? We should worried about these guys, calling the Marines. And meanwhile, these are the guys, nobody says anything about these guys. You see how messed up that is? It's totally messed up. So, yeah, let's worry about the white dude sitting in the corner, on the corner street of the street in Hamilton, and not worry about these dudes. Meanwhile, you're worried about some white dudes on a corner in Hamilton, and meanwhile, just down the road, Niagara police warn Republic of 700% increase in human trafficking. So yeah, but let's worry about these dudes. Let's worry about these dudes on the street. You wonder why they're on the street. Niagara police warn public of 700% increase in human trafficking. Type of crime has flourished as criminals exploit open borders and Ontario's broken justice system, because these traffickers will probably get bail. I just trafficked 50 women, 50 children. Oh, you get bail. That's why this stuff is flourishing in Ontario and Canada. Alright. Here's more Ukraine. These European leaders really want to get in a full war with Russia. The EU insists on having a seat at the table during negotiations, but the EU does not believe in diplomacy and does not want to talk to Moscow. Here is the EU's foreign policy chief explaining that she does not want to talk to Putin because he's a war criminal.
And if you say that there is no outcome of talking to him, then why talk to him? Because I feel I don't see into his head, of course, and into Kremlin's walls, but I feel that if everybody is constantly calling him, he doesn't get the message that he's isolated. So if we want to get him the message through that actually you're isolated, don't call him. It's no point.
All right. So yeah, that's kind of like Canada. She's kind of represents the Canadian position. These European leaders in Canada are kind of on the same page. I mean, you hear that? That's the foreign policy chief for the EU saying, "Oh, we can't talk to Putin." Like, that's kind of how the diplomatic peace process works throughout history. Actually, you actually have to talk to the opponent. Okay. Oh, back up. Next. But yeah, they really want to keep this war going. They want to get us all into war, kill us all. They're crazy. They're crazy. What's this one? Horrifying fact, there are 195 countries in the world. Even if every one of them took in 2 million Indians, India would still have more than 1 billion people left at home. That's why I keep talking about India, is because the demographic thing is enough to overwhelm a small country like Canada, and you have to take that seriously. But people don't take it seriously here. Okay, here's more remigration posts. Okay. All right. Now this is funny. This is kind of a local story on the immigration front. Hold on. This is funny. So this is town of Petrolia. I used to have a restaurant in town of Petrolia, and then the COVID hit. Long story short, the COVID hit just shortly after we opened, like less than 3 months after we opened, and kind of screwed me up. And the town was more than eager to go along with the COVID regulations and the mask mandates and whatever. This guy, the mayor here, anyway, Brad, there's our Petrolia mayor there. So, yeah, just like every other town and city in Ontario, the cities enabled the COVID BS that destroyed lots of restaurants. But here we are since then, Petrolia's been slowly getting bought out, the restaurants, or taken over by all Indian owners, which is, whatever, it's not illegal as ever, but it's happening in every city and town where, that's who's owning the businesses, because, COVID killed a lot of businesses, and now all of a sudden all these other ones are coming on. So, but apparently the mayor was at the grand opening of this new subway that opened in Petrolia, and they had to. It's hilarious. They had to shut the comments because people were being very racist towards the Indian owners and the like basically total Indian staff. Let's see. This is town of Petrolia. We are disappointed that we feel the need to close. I didn't comment on this, so it wasn't me. We are disappointed that we feel the need to close comments on this post. Too many inappropriate comments are being shared, and we will not tolerate them. We are delighted to welcome Subway to Petrolia. Make sure that you stop by and welcome them to our awesome town. They've got some awesome deals in store. So this is the town of Petrolia pushing for the Subway. Okay. Yeah. They didn't push for me when I was getting basically put out of business by the COVID. So there's our mayor with the owners. There's the mayor again with the owners. And there's the mayor again. Okay. So there have been other restaurants in Petrolia that have been taken over by Indians, and they tend to only hire Indians, whatever. So I just thought it was funny they had to shut the comments. But hey, that's how people feel. They don't want their town taken over, but it's going to happen. It's not the mayor's fault, I know, but look how he looks pretty. He's pretty cool with it, I think. Just like he was cool with the COVID stuff, right? He was cool with the COVID stuff ravaging businesses. He's cool with this. You can go have your sandwiches with your buddies there, Brad. And here's another thing. I see this all the time. Immigration Canada. Yeah, this is Immigration Canada. They're always posting stuff on how to help newcomers. And last time I checked, it's not really their job to be life coaches for immigrants. I mean, they're there to process and vet immigrants. They're not there to help them through their life's daily struggles. So you see posts like how to get, access to the healthcare system, free healthcare. And did you know healthcare was free in Canada? Like, now here they have some helpful advice. Newcomers to Canada, improve your credit score with these tips. And it's just hilarious. It's like, I didn't know life coach was in their mandate, but why not? Why not? Okay. So I thought that was funny. They're doing all they can to fill up the country and drain its resources. Good job, Immigration Canada. And next, here's another Sarnia local, regular occurrence. Sarnia border crossing, popular route for drug traffickers. So we have the Blue Water Bridge. It goes to Port Huron, Michigan. It says Brampton Sikh truckers linked to Ryan Wedding $4 million cocaine ring. Or I don't know what that means. It means I think they got caught with $4 million worth of cocaine. Two Brampton truckers, Ranjit Singh Rawal, Iqbal Singh Vert, were arrested August 28th. Oh, this is an old one. 2 months after the two truckers were caught hauling cocaine at the border, an indictment was unsealed with Wedding's name at the top, followed by 15 others. Okay, so they're working for this Ryan Wedding guy who's like the Pablo Escobar, the Canadian Pablo Escobar. So I guess he's using Sarnia as a transit point for his coke business. But yeah, we've had a lot of busts at the Blue Water Bridge in the last few months. All right. And here's Viktor Orban, the Hungarian Prime Minister. I like what he says. I know they'll call me a Putin stooge for saying that, but not only does he want to end the Ukraine war, or he wants it to prevent it from getting into World War III. And Hungary's right there, so he knows He sees what's going on. But also he's totally against the whole mass immigration thing, and he's getting a lot of flack from the EU for being opposed to it. And it'd be nice, he's a conservative, it'd be nice if Pierre Poilievre would say stuff like that instead of wanting direct fights from Amritsar. So let's say nobody in Canada will talk like this.
About a competition
Let's see
of
what he
two.
says.
The migration issue is so complicated. Legally, it's very simple, you know. To cross the border line without a permission is a crime. Full point, it's over. The problem is that migration is a concept of changing the society as such.
Yeah.
It's a kind of replacement of the original native-born voters with somebody else. And this is, you know, without being involved into any conspiracy theory, this is a well-detailed plan of the left. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because, okay, my understanding of the history is probably not as sophisticated as yours, but if I understand correctly, the last 150 years of the European, including UK anyway, mm-hmm. The European politics, it's about a competition of two tribes. One is those who think that we should stay in the traditional frame and value system of Europe as it was. Nation, freedom, Christianity, that's all.
All right. So, yeah, like, if a Canadian politician said stuff like this, I know Max Bernier says, but I'm saying, like, if the conservative Pierre said stuff like this, he won't say stuff like this. Maybe he would get more votes, maybe he wouldn't. But I think he'd get more votes, to be honest. But instead he says he's just as weak as, like, he's weak. He tries to appease tries to get, like, he's courting the immigrant vote. So he's definitely nowhere near to where Orban's talking. So, yeah. Pierre should be talking like that instead of the direct fights from Amritsar nonsense. Okay. And here, I saw this. Haitians at risk of U.S. deportations have an opportunity in Canada's merit-based immigration system. I was like, who the hell is this Canada Visa? Online resource for everything Canadian immigration. Yes. Yeah, we don't need more Haitians here. But yeah, they probably will come here if Trump does go through with his plan to ban third world immigration, excluding India, of course. I'm sure we'll end up with more. Okay. We're almost done here. There's... Alright. Here's more on Zelensky faces political peril as corruption scandal consumes top aide. Beset by scandal at home and under U.S. pressure to reach a deal to end the Russian invasion, he is facing one of the most hazardous moments of his presidency. Yeah, we'll see. Things have got to come to a head soon with that situation. He just doesn't seem sustainable for his position. Like, he's got corruption scandals around him. He's very unpopular, becoming more unpopular, and it should be interesting to see how it all plays out. Have no idea. But all I know is Canada's keeps giving billions to this war and really wants to be antagonistic with Russia, which I don't think it's benefit to Canada at all. But that's what happens when you're governed by traitor leaders. And that's it, I think. They care more about their globalist warmongering than they do about Canadian people, for sure. So, we'll see what happens. Until then, tomorrow is the next broadcast, December 2nd. And we'll see what happens. See what happens on all fronts. All fronts. So until then, have a nice night. We'll see you then.